film that could leave that impact on you is a good film. You know, if you're leaving still thinking about it and you're coming back, you know, I think it's great. I loved it. Now, I just watched Spider-Man No Way Home. First of all, if you're looking for a short review, and I feel like a bunch of you that are probably going to be clicking on this video have seen it, and if you have not, I'm not going to be spoiling it just yet, but if you did come here for the spoiler discussion, which I feel like that's going to be the majority of this video, just to how I feel about this movie, just go to this time card. You know, it's going to be right there, and that's where we'll be discussing spoilers. So if you're going to come here for a non-spoiler review, it's going to be the first section of this video, but yeah, let's get right into it and talk about how this movie is. So if you're here for a short review and you're just looking for that, Spider-Man No Way Home is, I would like to say, my favorite Spider-Man movie. I don't know. Maybe I'm coming off the high of the movie. Maybe, I feel like that is a mix of it as well. But for this performance of Tom Holland, I think this is his best one. And I think he showcases how great of an actor he actually is. And I think he does a great job. And also, if you're going into this thinking it's going to be some action-packed, you know, Marvel film, it's really not that. It's a lot deeper. There's a lot more depth and, you know, characters and stuff like that. Like William Dafoe, I will say, did a fantastic job. William Dafoe is a great actor, so there's really some cool scenes that we'll talk about later that kind of I will delve into, but they're spoilers, so we won't discuss that. Marvel movie itself, it is great. It's got action, a lot of drama, a lot of great acting. Zendaya, I think, did a great job, and also Ned, actually. His character in this movie was a surprise, and I really enjoyed that character and how he's developing. It's kind of cool to see. It's also the way they filmed this. It's very there was a lot of shots and cuts and camera angles and camera works that I didn't know they were going to use, and I liked it because I do watch a lot of movies and shows, and I really do like the way they were moving the camera around and what angles they were using and, like, you know, stuff like that. So, but the highlight of this film, I would say, is probably William Dafoe and Tom Holland. I think Tom Holland did a great job. I think, as we'll watch and this will come out, everyone will very much enjoy Tom Holland's Spider-Man, and I think he will be, honestly, one of the greatest ones. And I love everything about this movie. I will say, obviously we'll talk about it in spoilers, but it's you know what's crazy about this movie? It's so hard not to talk about spoilers, because it's like, I don't know, I'm really trying to beat around the bush as much as I can, but it's great. It's heart-wrenching. It's just a deeper look into the image of Spider-Man and who Spider-Man really is. You know, with great power comes great responsibility. And it's something I really did not expect in this movie. Like, what I didn't expect is how deep it was, and it works, and it's fucking amazing. I really enjoyed it, and I definitely recommend, please try to see it as soon as possible, because I actually got spoiled it before I even saw the movie, and I saw it on a pre-release, you know, the day before it comes out, which is today. But yeah, I definitely recommend going to watch it. I definitely think, if not my favorite Spider-Man movie, I would say it's, I don't know if it's my favorite MCU movie, but I don't know. But it's definitely my favorite Spider-Man movie as of me sitting right here. So now we are at the spoiler section of this video. Please, if you've already reached to this point, and if you have not seen it, please go watch it. I know you might be like, I want to know what happens in this movie, but no, you don't. Please just go and go watch the movie, then come back to this video and we'll talk about it, discuss it, and yes, trust me, you'll have a better time doing that. But if you are still here in 3, 2, 1, I'm going to be discussing the crap out of this movie. So I was thinking how I was going to do this. I don't know if I was going to do a play-by-play of every little detail that happens in this movie, but I think I'm just going to bounce around a bit. That's kind of the best thing I can do, because I'm just going to, out of everything I remember, you know what I mean? Because it was a lot. I'm going to have to see it again. It's one of those movies you're going to have to see again. First of all, Andrew Garfield, by the way, I think he did by far the greatest performance in this movie. He is such a great actor. You know, the part where MJ, is falling down and he catches her like he did with Gwen, or didn't do with Gwen, but, and he did it, and he's just holding her there. And she's like, "Are you okay?" And he's just like so emotional. It's such a fantastic moment. It is one of those moments to where I was just like, like, I didn't see it coming. I didn't know that was going to happen. And it was just such a deep, great moment for superhero movie. I love it. It was a redemption arc, and he felt, oh, it was awesome. So I know I'm kind of jumping to the end on that one, but I'll kind of go back. Matt Murdock, all the Daredevil fans out there, I was screaming. I was like, Matt Murdock, Daredevil's in this movie. I was like, oh, this is so cool. Yeah, I thought that was really cool. I'm glad they brought that actor back from the show, you know. And so in my theater, I will say too, people were cheering the entire movie. So it was an awesome, that's why I always recommend, like, if you're able to go see stuff in theaters, go. It's a great time. There was a great energy in the theater. It was fantastic. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. It was amazing there. So yeah, so Peter, you know, recast the spell or whatever. And they actually, Doctor Strange, the way he like presented it is that once, you know, Peter was like, I don't know if I want everyone to forget, blah, 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 blah. He actually contains it, but what happens is stuff leaks through, which is the Sinister Six, which I am jumping to the end credit scene. Venom showed up, but he got brought back. So, but a little bit of his alien, symbiote, whatever, was left on that counter of that bar. So that, I thought that was cool as well, because I love Tom Hardy, and I think he does a great job as Venom. So yeah, and Aunt May is a huge, I think she does a great job in this film. Obviously, what happens with Aunt May, but basically what happens is Aunt May is telling him, that we need to fix these people and we need to help them, and Doc Ock, surprisingly not the villain in this entire movie. He's actually he's the Samwise Gamgee of this film. I will say he is if it wasn't for him, Electro would still had the arc reactor, which is unlimited power at the palm of your hand. Basically, they're at Happy's place, to which I, going into this, thought Happy was going to die, but yeah, obviously Happy does not die. And so he goes into this and he's fixing everyone up, and probably one of my favorite scenes in this entire movie. It isn't my favorite scene, but it is one to where Spider-Man has his senses going, and he's looking around, and everyone's standing around him, all these villains, and he's like, who's gonna attack me? And it's a good like 30 seconds to a minute, I would say, of him and his spidey senses, or the tingle. And it's William Dafoe, and he switches, the Green Goblin switches into that villain, and that's, again, I think William Dafoe did a amazing job in this movie. I really do think he is such a great actor. And I also watched a video recently that he did all of his stunts, which is nuts. He's like 70 years old or 66 or something like that. And wow, I think he did a great job. Great villain, probably the best out of all of this. And yeah, the fight sequence, ensues, and it ends with a, by the way, if you're a weak-hearted person, or not weak-hearted, but a weak person when it comes to tragedies, you're going to be crying a lot. Aunt May's dying scene, and that's, again, what I brought up in the non-spoiler section, is that Tom Holland absolutely killed it with his acting. I think he, a beyond great actor. I think he did an amazing job, and I think he deserves all the credit. And it kind of sucks. I was thinking about this earlier this morning. I was thinking how he probably will never win an Oscar for this. He'll never do anything. And it's, to me, it's shitty because of how great of acting is being done in these Marvel films. But just because they're superhero films, they're not seen as, like art. Well, to me, it is. And it's beyond amazing. This movie is so deep, so freaking deep. So of course, Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire are in this movie, and I think they all do a great job. My theater, oh my god, went insane when Tobey and Andrew showed up. I would say Andrew is probably, out of this movie, he's my favorite out of the three, who did a great job. Even though Tobey was, I bawled like a baby when Tobey came through. It was awesome. But that scene where Andrew is like trying to prove that he's Spider-Man, and he takes the cobwebs out of the corner and stuff. I loved that. Basically, what I liked about this movie is what we see in Spider-Man. And all three of them go through tragedy, All three of them heard with great power comes great responsibility. And I think all in the universe is what they were trying to say, is that, some, like, Spider-Man needs to go through this tragedy to become a greater and more responsible man. How they presented it is great. And again, the acting between, even Tobey Maguire did such a great job in this, when he talks about Uncle Ben, and Aunt May, and then, of course, Andrew Garfield when he's talking about Gwen, he lost his Gwen. It's such a great thing. Tobey, he's kind of the old man out of the group, he did, my back, stuff like that. He's talking about how we needed to save them, and it's, with great power comes great responsibility. And Aunt May did tell him that, and that was one of those scenes too where I'm just like, oh wow, You know what I mean? It's awesome. It's becoming Spider-Man. You know, I don't think Tom Holland before this really became Spider-Man until this movie. He is Spider-Man. And when I mean that, I don't mean like I don't like him as Spider-Man. I just mean where he individualizes himself, because he kind of got lost in the sauce, in my opinion, during all the Avengers stuff, but I really think he came into his own in this. He is the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man in this movie, and I love it. It's awesome, but it also lays with the weight of, you know, a superhero in loss, you know, and where he's like, I just want to kill, you know, Green Goblin, and I don't care anymore and stuff, to where you have to rise above that. This movie really takes to the edge and to the breaking point of what it means to, you know, with great power comes great responsibility, and that you have to be a better person, and you have to be a super person to do it. Also, they teased Miles Morales. Jamie Foxx did. He's like, he said to Andrew, I thought you were black, which I think is kind of a tease to, you know, Miles Morales, which I hope and pray we do get a Miles Morales. I love Miles, so I would love to see Miles Morales in a future MCU film, and I doubt they wouldn't do it. So I want to get to the section of this review to where what I really wanted to talk about, and it is the ending, the deepness and the impactfulness it left upon me. I feel like not a lot of people are portraying that. I swear I woke up this morning and my heart is still hurting from the ending. You know what I mean? And it's to where Spider-Man does the spell to where everyone forgets him, and he looks at, you know, his friend Ned and MJ, and he's like, I will come find you again, and we'll fix all this. He promises. And those scenes, like, I could cry right now talking about it. It's so well done on that, but it breaks my heart when it comes to that. It really did break my heart. You know, and this is to my favorite scene in the film, which is one of the saddest, if not the saddest, in my opinion. It made me think about loved ones and how I would react if I looked them straight in the face and they had no idea who I was. It's when Tom Holland, Spider-Man, he walks in to the, you know, MJ's like donut shop, I think it is, and he orders a coffee, and he's got this whole script written out, and he just looks at her, and he just like, his eyes are watering up, and he just, you know, he's in love with her. He can't say, you know, I love you, or like, you know what I mean, or whatever like that. It's really, really, really sad, and I think they did a great job with it. I think it was, I don't know how else to say it, but then it deeply affected me. It was awesome. It still broke my heart after leaving. It broke my heart. I think that was the point, was that Peter, it's a new beginning for Peter Parker, and he obviously, we better, I swear to God, if we don't, I mean, if they don't end up back together, MJ and him, I will hurt somebody. Probably my favorite thing about the film, but it was, yeah. But that's the thing I wanted to say. A film that could leave that impact on you is a good film. You know, if you're leaving still thinking about it and you're coming back, you know, I think it's great. I loved it. So yeah, I think that's kind of a review / spoiler discussion of Spider-Man No Way Home. I really do think it is one of my favorite Spider-Man movies of all time. I don't know if it'll take over Spider-Man 2 just because of, you know, how it is with me and as like growing up, and that's like saying like, you know, the prequels or something for Star Wars are not my favorites because I grew up with it. But yeah, I absolutely loved this film. I definitely recommend it, if, you know, to anyone out there. So if you enjoyed this review / discussion, make sure to subscribe, and I'll be covering, you know, all Marvel stuff around there too. So I love you all, and with great power comes great responsibility. See ya.